Hello students, this is Mrs. Slater, and today we're going to talk about slopes and equations of lines. So that means we're going to combine two different sections. 3.5 is all about slopes. And there are four types of slopes that you would need to know. And the first one is going to be a positive slope. A positive slope would look like something like this, where you have 2 points and a line connecting them. And the 2 points could be, I'm just making these up, it doesn't really match my graph very well, but 3, 5 could be an example of one, and then maybe a -2, -2. Okay, so if we're going to look at the graph, we can see it's positive because it is rising to the right. So we know that this is going to be a positive slope. We can also show this because the slope formula is the change in y over the change in x. So we can actually subtract the y values and subtract the x values in that order and find out what the slope is. So if you look at your points, this is our first one, x and y, and then this is our second one, x squared y sub 2. Those are both 1s. And we can plug in the numbers. So y2 is a -2. That's supposed to be a -2 down there. And minus y1, which is 5. In the denominator, we'll take the x sub 2, that's -2 also, minus 3. So then your slope is going to be a -7 over -5, which we know reduces to 7/5, re-emphasizing the fact that it's also a positive slope. The second kind is a negative slope. So on a negative slope, you will see a graph that looks something like this. And connecting in 2 points. And again, I'm going to make up some points here, like -4, 2, and 5, -3. Okay, so same like the last one, this one is falling to the right, therefore it is a negative slope. And if you want to prove it, we can use the slope formula that we did in the first one, which is the change in y, which is a -3 minus the +2, then also a change in x, which is 5 minus a -4. Simplify, so you have -5 over 9, and you can see that it re-emphasizes the fact that it is a negative slope. Alright, the third type of slope that you should know is a zero slope. If your graph is going to have a zero slope, there would be 2 points that would lie on the graph like this. The 2 points could be a -3, 4, and a +5, 4. Again, I'm just making these up. Okay, this is called a zero slope. Now, watch what happens when we do the slope formula. Change in y, which is 4 minus 4, over -3 minus 5. So 4 minus 4 is 0, and you get -8 on the bottom, and after simplifying, you get 0 for a slope. Okay, so zero slope. The last type of slope that I want to go over is a undefined slope. You should also know what this looks like. 2 points that could be on an undefined slope might be over 3 up 5, and then maybe over 3 and then down -1. We can prove an undefined slope by taking the change in y, 5 minus a -1, over 3 minus 3. So you get a final answer of 6 over 0. But we know that 0 in the denominator creates an undefined answer. So in this case, it would be an undefined slope. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do equations of the line. And we will be doing this for sections 3.6. Find equations of lines. And you're going to have to do a lot of slopes, so that's why I figured we could put these two things together. Alright, 3.6 notes. And then also, equation of the line, you'll see that in the directions often. Okay, so the first one's, what if you are given 2 points? I want you to find the equation of the line. Now there are 3 types of equations that you might come up with. And let's just start with an example, and then I'll tell you about those types. First of all, 1, 4, 5, 6 are the 2 points. And the first thing that we're going to do is find the slope. Okay, so just in our previous ones, the same exact way. M, and then this would be our first order pair, and this is going to be our second order pair. And when you find the slope, we're going to do the change in y. So 6 minus 4 over 5 minus 1. So we get 2 over 4, which then reduces to 1/2. Okay, so once you find the slope, we'll first start with the point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So if you're given the point and you're given the slope, this is the definite best method to use. So I'm going to start there. The point, we can use either point. I'm going to go ahead and choose the 1, 4, and I'm going to put that in for x1 and y1. So our formula then would be y minus 4 equals 1/2 x minus 1. And that is an answer in point slope form. Could you use 5, 6? Sure, you're going to get the exact same thing. So the 1/2 comes from the slope, and then the 1/4 is going to come from the point that was given. Okay, now the next one would be the slope intercept form. And we can take the answer from the previous form and just simplify it. We need that finale to look like y equals mx plus b. So we can take from here y minus 4 equals 1/2 x minus 1/2, and then we can add 4 to both sides. And that would be our slope-intercept form, because here is the slope and this is the y-intercept, which now it makes it very nice to graph. Okay, and the third type is called the standard form. The standard form is ax plus by plus c equals 0. And there can be a, b, and c cannot equal fractions. And I'll show you how to get rid of those as well. Okay, so standard form. Taken from the above equation, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. But take 3.5 and put it into fraction form. Okay, so if we can't have fractions, the best way to get rid of fractions is to multiply by the greatest common denominator, which would be 2. So I'm going to multiply everything by 2, which will make 2y equals 1/2 times 2 is just 1, and then 7/2 times 2 is 7. So we're still not done because we have to get everything set equal to 0. So the next thing I would do is subtract x. And the very last thing to have standard form would be negative x plus 2y minus 7 equals 0. So a would be negative 1, b is 2, and c is negative 7. Okay, next we're going to find the equation of a line. This time we're going to be given the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, so let's first start with the y-intercept. This is just going right to the example. The y-intercept is 3 and the slope is -4. Okay, this time we are not given a point, so we're not going to use point slope form. We are going to start with the slope intercept form. Okay, again, that is the y equals mx plus b. Alright, so we can just plug and chug numbers in, because y equals mx plus b. If I know the slope, that's just going to be -4. And if I know the y-intercept, that's going to be 3. So those are short and sweet. Now, if we're going to change this into standard form, which again is ax plus by plus c equals 0, we would have to get the x and the y, everything set equal to 0. So if I add 4x, and I'm looking at the previous problem right here, 4x plus y subtract 3 equals 0. So that's going to be standard form. Okay, so now I'm going to let you practice a couple of them, and then that's where we're going to start in class to see how you did. So go ahead and push pause after I write them down and solve, and then I'll show you tomorrow the answer. The first one I want you to do is find the equation of a line given 2 points and find the point slope, the slope intercept, and standard form. So I'll give you a second to write that down. Push pause. The next one, same thing, different points, lots of negatives, so I want you to practice using negative numbers as well. Find point slope, slope intercept, and standard. Push pause again. The third one I want you to practice, find the equation line given the slope and y-intercept. So that was the second thing we did. You're given slope is 2/5, y-intercept is -4. And just two things on this one. Find the slope intercept and the standard form. And then finally, push pause on this one. I want you to try this. Find the equation of a line containing a point -1,5 and has the same slope as 2x plus 3y equals 6. This concludes sections 3.5 and 3.6. And work on those, and then we'll go over them in class tomorrow.